I think I
StreamYard,
see Martin
FYI.
in here now.
We live on StreamYard, FYI.
Are we? Oh, okay.
Yep,
Are
I
we?
just made it live. It's live.
Why did you?
Why?
Why'd you do that?
Oh, because it's getting an option. I don't know.
This nigga,
God,
wow.
this just
Oh, I mean, wait, can I pause it?
no. Well, you can't. Once you go live, you're live.
Oh, this man.
Okay, my bad,
Peace.
y'all.
I'm just
What's
listening to y'all
good,
trying to figure out what's going on.
What's going
What's
on?
good,
What's happening?
man?
So
What's happening?
we live, just so you know, so don't say nothing crazy, you know. But,
By the way, what's your username on Callin? Because I got to make the room live as well.
I'm waiting to get all of that downloaded, so I'll be doing that while I'm talking to y'all.
How long is it taking to download?
I had to update my iPad, so.
And you won like dial-up internet.
Yeah, I'm one of them. I don't really use it often. I'm an Android guy, so let me just throw that out there.
Oh yeah, because this Joan is on right now. It's only for like iOS devices and shit.
I don't know why they couldn't come up with a joint that works for both. That's a little confusing.
Because it takes so long to develop for Android is the problem. You can develop for iPhone in like you could come up with a concept and get it developed for iPhone in like months. But where it comes to Android, the development cycle is always like 3 to 6 months behind because the coding language is so much harder to develop for.
You was like Android for like 15 years until like last month.
Oh, he just
it was.
He just called you out, bro.
No, I totally was. But the thing is that's from like a consumer perspective versus a developer perspective. So if I was going to go make an app, like it would be stupid of me to try to go for Android first if I actually want to get something out to market.
So while we are live currently on StreamYard, we're not live on Callin, and I guess the show is
not yet live on Callin.
Yeah, so I guess the show is going to be more so on like Callin whenever that happens. But the room for Callin is ready, and whenever what?
Yeah, the room for Callin is going to be going live in about 8 minutes.
Your cat just doing anything, bro.
He do, bro.
Yeah, your cat's got no sense of propriety whatsoever. No professionalism.
He really just moved to the beat of his own drum.
Hey, Mark, have you interacted with Q and Jamil before? I'm sure you have.
I probably didn't commented on some or like some, but outside of that, nah.
Okay, so let me
I've seen stuff you tweeted though. Like I follow you.
Yeah, is it the same ad that you put in there? On here?
Yeah.
Let me see. I might follow you. Let me see. Hold on.
So why don't we do this then? If you want to give me a second, I gotta head out and I'm gonna like grab a glass of water real quick because I've been at this desk since about 11:30 this morning, and I really need to like step aside and get a glass of water or something.
Get your milk and cookies too.
Man, shut up! I'll be right back.
Where these niggas go, man?
Yeah, so he said it'll be 8 minutes. So by the time y'all ready to set up, I'll be good to go on the big calling out.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Whenever you get ready. You follow him, Jamil?
Yeah, I just followed him.
No, I was saying you didn't already follow him.
Nah, I didn't.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, well, no, I don't think we interacted before, but you know, it's a pleasure.
Okay, so let me properly introduce y'all. It's crazy. I interact with both of y'all, at least on the timeline. But this is my brother Jamil. This is Martin. I don't know if y'all ever interacted on the web before, but yeah. Jamil, where the fuck you going, bro?
Nah,
this nigga.
My light was kind of.
Yo, that camera quality he got over there is crazy.
Oh yeah,
hey, it's crazy, bro.
Yeah, nah, yeah. I be having the flex on it when I stream. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I just got
it. I stream from my actual. Like, I got a professional camera, so I just stream straight from it.
Oh, the camera that you use, that's the jump that you.
Yeah. It's shooting 5K. Yeah, it's shooting 5K. Yeah.
My bad, brother. I'm over here.
You're not. Are you using your joint?
I'm using a new joint, but Hugh told me that something it looked kind of messed up. I think it's because of my Wi-Fi though.
Oh. Yeah, it's probably your Wi-Fi.
Yeah. because my router right there. But
I mean, but you know what you got to do? If your girl not using the internet, run the Ethernet straight from the router to your computer.
Oh man, they always use the internet. My kids on their iPads, TV, always.
Wait, but do it got more than one? You know what I'm talking about, right? Like it should have more than one. Like you should still be able to run an Ethernet from the router to your computer, and people should still be able to use the Wi-Fi. You know what I mean?
I think I know what you mean.
Like there should be more than there's usually like 4 or 5 ports that you could choose from.
We don't got one of those. Nah, I see what you're saying though. Yeah, I see it. So I gotta get an Ethernet cable and run that shit.
Yeah.
Oh, all right, maybe I gotta get one of those now. Cause my shit look foul right now. Well, I can't see it. My shit look clear from where I'm looking at, but obviously it don't be.
Yeah, my cat, he's knocking off shit off the Christmas tree and just kicking it around.
Alright. But yeah, so so like what questions? So I just wanted to be sure, like what you can and like cannot, or what you feel comfortable and what you don't feel comfortable discussing. As far as actually we live, so I'll just type it.
Oh yeah, I forgot. We are live. I forgot that quick. I was about to start talking
live
crazy.
On StreamYard, but we don't have no viewers. It's like we live.
But people, but I don't know. Yeah, but I'm wondering, what are we? Oh, we're live on the. We're live on the RZNWA page. Okay, hold on.
Right, but we don't have no streamers. We don't have no.
Oh yeah, well, that's because people haven't been. We haven't been streaming on RZNWA for the longest time.
Yeah, and plus we haven't put out that we actually on this platform because we normally.
Yeah. We stream Twitch. It's twitch.com/RZNWA, right? Twitch.tv.
Yeah.
RZNWA.
Yeah, but you could DM me what you comfortable speaking on. And what you
that can't be right. It ain't come up.
I thought that's what it was, but then again, I just said,
what the fuck is it?
Might have changed.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Rennie, you can.
It said we live on. Wait, we live on YouTube too? Oh no! It's giving me the option to go on YouTube. Okay, I see. I don't know why it's not giving me like a share. You know what I'm talking about? Like a link.
I don't know, bro. I don't know where he just went. Well, but what was you saying, bro?
But yeah, I was saying you can really ask whatever you want to ask. If it's something I feel a way about, I got to be careful about. I can navigate that as we go. I'm fluid in that way.
Yeah, it won't be nothing like personal or nothing. Yeah. Did you find it, Jamil?
It say we got. No, it say we have 2 live viewers, but it's.
But how's that possible?
What is it? Goddamn! What's the link? What's our RZNWA page? I really don't remember. That's crazy. Is it in the It's on the Twitter page, right? It's in the bio.
It's in one of the tweets.
Yeah, let me see.
Dude, real loud.
I'm about to just search that joint right now. Found it. It's a Twitch. It's twitch.tv RZNWA. Isn't that what the fuck I did? Hold on. Twitch. It says unless you've got a time machine, that content is available. That's weird. You know, my cat is wilding right now, bro.
You can hear him.
Yeah, hold on. Let me see. RZ.
Yo, what's up with like Anthony Wilder?
That's so weird. Every time I click on it, bro, it like kicks me out. Like it's not letting me access the stream. Like almost as if the stream, like we not, like our account's down or something. You know what I mean?
It might be.
Shit.
And it might not even be that link, bro.
No, I think that's what it is. No, I think that's what it is. I don't think our account is active.
Oh, so we can't be streaming from that then.
Right. Hold on, we gotta wait till Andre come back because it's not letting me access the joint. Because I'm definitely clicking the right link because I went to an old tweet where Huey. God damn, man, hold on.
How you been though, man?
For me?
Yeah, man.
I've been good, man. My family good, my people good, my daughter good. She about to turn 11 in February.
Oh,
So,
that's good, man.
Yeah. What about you? How your people?
Good, man. They just got back to school after a 3-week winter vacation. I almost didn't want to send them, man, with this virus going.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy out there, man. It's crazy enough. They were sick too, and lo and behold, we had tests and none of it came back positive. But I'm still sort of like, were the tests valid or anything? But did anybody get sick over there? Are you good?
Yeah, I mean, stepdad got sick. My sister's sick now. You know, yeah, people getting it.
Yeah,
You know,
big
so,
time, man.
Yeah.
Big time. Jamil, you catch the jump?
I did, bro. But I it wasn't that bad. It was pretty mild.
They be mad as shit on Twitter when you say the word mild.
Oh yeah, there's nothing mild. I'm like, man.
I get
there's
it
a
though.
lot of there's so many bad narratives around COVID, bro. Like there's so many bad narratives.
That long COVID do be fucking niggas up. I swear.
Yeah, nah. I ain't gonna hold you, bro. Like I lost my sense of smell for like 2 months, and I didn't peep for a while though. Like I just was like, dang, like. And then one day I think I went to it was like I went to go get like to re-up on my little YSL cologne. And I was like, you know, I went to the little spot. I'm like, this is the one I got. I showed her the empty bottle. And so I'm like, can you give me another one? And she was like, yeah, here you go. I was like, can I just smell it, you know, just to make sure? And I was like, nah, this is not it. This is not it. And she's like, this is it. I'm like, nah, this is not it. This is too light. This must be like y'all spring version or something. Like the joint I got is like a little more strong. So I'm like, let me just try something else. I tried like 8 different colognes, bro. I couldn't smell nothing. And I was like, oh shit. Like, yeah, then it hit me like, nah, it's not the cologne, it's me. Like I can't smell shit. Yeah, so
nah, and like mentally though, because you're aware, like me, because I be aware of shit, I be losing my mind sometimes because I'll be like, damn, can I not smell right now? Damn, can I not taste right now?
Yeah.
And I actually be having my sense, but my mind be fucking with me so bad. Like, damn, I'll be smelling shit like, Because you never know when you got kids, they can be asymptomatic than a motherfucker. Or you could have been asymptomatic and just didn't know. It's just
crazy. Right. Since we don't have no viewers just yet, one thing I do want to going forward, Rennie, and I guess like Martin, this is probably, I mean, I'm sure you'll like to hear this too. We tend to record for too long, and I think that's bad for multiple reasons. One, because we like putting too much good content in one, like, you know what I mean, episode.
Nah, I'm with you.
And 2, because we got lives. You know what I mean? Like, in the sense of like, you know, there's definitely people who will watch for 2, 3 hours, 4 hours if we did it. You know what I mean?
But at the same time, it's like
nobody talk 4 hours, but
at the same time, 45 minutes is good enough.
Yeah. So that's what I was saying. Like we can probably at around 10:45 we can start to wrap it up, because I know whenever we try to wrap it up, we end up going like another. You know what I mean? Like So. And honestly, I don't think we don't need and I think it'll make for better quality episodes too, just because like if we're putting everything in a smaller period of time, we're really only going to focus on substantive things. So you know, do them like Steve Jobs, drop a little update every episode.
Nah, Nah, I feel that though.
Yeah.
But you know, nigga ain't got his PhD, so I can't really say shit about it.
Man. And it's so funny, bro, because like
that shit
so
had me.
Funny. One, he don't know anything about you too. Like he just assuming,
Right.
like for all you could have had 3 doctorates for all he know. You know what I'm saying? Like who
But
is he?
I don't live in my bio like these niggas, man.
Yeah, you see his bio, bro. Booking
They
institution.
live in their bio, man.
Yeah.
They just it just be so
I
funny.
could do that
'cause,
too.
like,
I could do that, but I don't. You see, I've been took all that shit off my bio. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, it's no point. Why would I do
feeling
that?
like that? Even as someone who's you know, going towards that, and even like organizing, like I could put that shit all in my bio, make it seem like I'm just prestigious ass person, man. That shit don't really matter though, because you notice that's what grounds a lot of people. I'm this, I'm that, you know.
Oh yeah, they're nothing without their I mean, someone joked about it like, oh, you know, such and such. Oh wait, we lied. Let me not say that. But so but I almost went left with it. But and they would have been like, he is a suspect.
They would have been on the Summits Jam screen with that shit.
Man, they would have had me on something dance screen first thing in the morning on Divest Twitter, bro. But there are people. You know, I got generalized. Like who really like they have a degree, so they feel like it's the most important thing in the world, and I'm just like, that's all fine and well, but like there are other people with degrees, and even if other people don't have degrees, it's just like, who cares? Like that doesn't matter. Like it's sort of like you can't claim to be so radical, but also like put so much value on the credentials that are like literally tied to the same state that like kills you. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't. It's so contradictory.
I noticed that shit a lot with niggas who have a genealogy of that shit. Like you a PhD, but your mother's got a master's, your father's was a doctor or a lawyer. You know, like they really take so much pride in it. And it's like first gen niggas like who, like, cause you know what I'm saying. That's like me going around my family and just pride myself in like going to get a PhD. You know what I'm saying? Like nobody there has passed high school diploma, or you know how dumb that looks. You know what I'm saying? And so we aren't even raised.
I think we're live on YouTube right now. My bad. I don't mean to cut you off. Let me check. We might be live from the YouTube channel, bro. Hold on.
Oh, that says, yeah, that's a YouTube icon.
Yeah, hold on. Let me see.
Yeah, y'all be getting these messages all the time, like
not them kind of messages, like not like that, but
yeah, I don't even know what the fuck it is. I know they lying to me. It's like, nah.
Yeah, we live right on YouTube. Yeah, we are.
But
I'm looking at it right now.
YouTube kind of wild. But
yeah, we live right on YouTube. Yeah.
But
that's funny.
I'm looking at it right now. But what was I about to say?
Well, appreciate the love.
Yo, let me go see if one of my roommates got a iPad. This is taking a long time up there. Give me a second.
All right, bet. But what was I about to say? But when you think about how people with an established background like that, who have a litany of degrees in a family, bro, I noticed they hinge on to that shit. It'd be so weird. It'd be so weird, bro. Like, what the fuck?
It's the most important thing in the world to them, bro. Like,
it is, bro. Because that's all they talk about when they get around.
I'm gonna tweet out the YouTube link just so might as well fuck it at this point.
Yeah.
Hold on, me, Rennie. Definitely defy all the rules of grammar because you're not supposed to put me first, but I do that shit anyway.
What?
You know, you're not supposed to say me and want to be like them, I or whatever. And I'm just like, man, all this shit mean the same thing. So who really cares?
Sorry about that, fellas. What happened to Martin, by the way?
He went to go try to see if he could. His iPad was moving real slow, so he went to.
Okay.
So yeah, we're streaming on YouTube. You know that, right?
Yeah, we're on YouTube and
okay
right now.
Okay. Yeah, because I was under the assumption that we were on Twitch.
Oh, no, there's no Twitch stream for Resistance Wall right now.
Yeah, no, that's what I figured, because I was like, hey guys, we don't have a Twitch. Yeah, we sort of figured that out just a few minutes ago.
Okay.
Wait, it's till we free or till? Okay, I got it. Got it. You are streaming right now.
Yo, Shady McCoy was a problem, bro.
He was overrated.
What?
He was never that good, bro. Y'all guessing,
bro. You be
Andre. What I was saying to Rennie though was like we're gonna try to keep the She said, "I need black man to marry me. Visa to the white
I saw that in the comments. I'm like, yo,
this is egregious.
What kind of we got going on over here, bro?
This is egregious. This is egregious. This is egregious.
I need a black American man to marry me. US
this is egregious.
The White Kingdom. What is this, man? What is this? What? Yes, shall import Habesha blacks. What the hell?
Nah,
I
egregious.
don't know, man. I don't know.
Weak as hell.
Egregious. Nah, this one is.
Oh my god, what is going on? Is that an Eritrean or?
It's probably like 6 a.m. in Eritrea right now, bro.
That's wild.
But now I was saying we're gonna try to once we get started, we try to keep it to like an hour. Just one, because we can obviously, for a lot of different reasons. But yeah, and going forward,
I can't stay super late either. I've been at this all day.
Yeah, no, I feel it. I was just in general, it would be good to keep the episodes to an hour, just so that we sort of don't overflow too much content, on one episode and things like that.
Yeah, I got that.
No.
Yeah.
But here, I think this one gonna be pretty smooth, because he has some like inside understanding of like how the rise of BLM, because he was an organizer there, and pretty much what made him sort of like detract from it and stuff like that.
Hey, what's up, man? Did you get your situation sorted out?
I did not. I have no way to get on it until this.
You didn't get that thing all down.
Get that thing all down.
We got it, man. Y'all gotta tell people about these inside jokes, man.
Wait, so I'm assuming you have an Android as a phone. Yo, come on, dog.
That's okay. There's actually a way around this. There's a way around it. Let's see, Martin. What I can do is I can let's see, what kind of, maybe if I start a Google Meet room with you, I can loop your audio in.
Oh, okay. I think I am all done updating.
Oh, you are? Okay.
Let me push.
Yeah, just let me know when you're all set.
Yo, why is this person still in the comments? That's wild.
Yeah.
I know, man. Yeah, they're making a case as if there's anything that we can do to bring them over. First of all, I'm not even in America. I'm in Canada, so you got to talk to these fellas.
Yeah, I live in Serbia. I also live in Serbia. I'm Afro-Serbian. I don't know anything about American politics. I don't know what those Americans are doing over there, but I don't know, Randy. You can maybe speak more to what's happening on the ground in America. Somebody gonna I always be saying wild shit just so I hope that it becomes a soundbite one day, so somebody can be like, "See, he said this," and I was like, "Nigga, I was trolling when I said that."
I want to be salient.
Let me be salient. Hey, did you ever see? I had tweeted that randomly one day, and that motherfucker.
Yeah, I'm hip, bro. Oh nah, but you gotta understand, like they move like feds, bro. So I wouldn't be surprised if they saw the stream and understood what was going on and everything. But that shit had me Weak as hell. I want to be salient.
Let me be salient.
It's just one thing to tweet like that, but to talk like that shit got to be like
That's got to be,
what?
man. To sit around and listen to somebody talk like that.
Nah, this one is so funny to me for some reason.
Huh?
Oh, the Habisha in chat.
Nah, read the StreamYard. I saw it on YouTube.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, that's base pandering right there.
There's lots of gay pride in Atlanta. Tiffany Haddish does not speak for us. That's true. Yeah, absolutely. She's very true.
Does Tiffany Haddish speak for anybody but Tiffany Haddish?
Yeah.
She's selective pro-black. Hey, I like this dude.
True.
I like this dude a lot. Yeah. I'm personally. All right. You know that white boy thirst was kind of turning me off.
Damn, I was just about to tweet out the joint and then I accidentally closed out the link. That's crazy.
Yeah. That is crazy. Nigga not silly.
Martin, what's going on over there, man?
I am just about done creating this profile.
All right. Cool. We'll get started in a second.
You know, Nina gonna have our heads. She gonna text me in like 2 minutes. Like, I thought y'all always start on time. Because I was telling her that we start on time.
I had every intention of starting on time tonight, but you don't understand. I've been at this since like 11 o'clock in the morning.
Damn.
You know?
Hey,
I even went so far as, just to make sure that we don't miss meetings and whatnot, I went so far as to create meeting reminders that send you emails with the Zoom links and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly what
All right. I'm on there.
9 o'clock. I just was on the phone.
And add my handle at 2-way free.
I want to be salient. Oh my god. Hey, can we save that as a soundbite?
We would get sued.
I'm gonna put that into my soundboard here.
Yo, that would be hilarious, bro.
No lie. Like, send that to me on Slack. I'm gonna put it in the soundboard.
I want to be salient.
Bro, I'm about to be weak as fuck. Yo, we gonna get we about to be on somebody's Summer Jam screen, but I'm with it.
I mean, hey, it'll be the best Summer Jam screen you ever had.
Bruh. I done been main character way too many times on Twitter.
He said goodbye and thanks for not blocking me because I am gay. We don't block gay people. We would never do that.
Yeah, we don't. We're not.
We're not those guys. We're not.
Wait,
those
what happened?
people.
What happened?
Nah, the comment. He said you guys are cute and well mannered black and women are men who marry you is lucky. Goodbye. Thanks for not blocking me because I am gay. And I said, I mean, we show love all black people. All black people. Don't matter what you got going on.
Oh nah.
Wait, wait.
Until who are we talking about here?
Yeah.
Hell nah.
Oh
shit! I just read
Gazi. I'm screaming.
Yeah, which one is he saying or they saying?
You know,
I'm guessing.
It's either me or Martin.
Yeah.
He said you look like Gazi. You can't be talking about me. I'm a light skinned nigga.
No, I know that's not me. I know that's definitely not me.
Gotta be talking about
that's funny as hell.
Get on stream talking about Anne Frank as a colonizer.
Oh man.
I want to be salient. Yo, send the MP3 to me. I'm serious.
I already sent it, bro.
Oh my god. Oh, it's a video and everything. Why do I gotta look at this? Why do I gotta look at this face, man? Why'd you do that to me?
All right, y'all good with me? I got me set up.
Oh, you all set up in call-in?
Yeah.
Shit, let me get in call-in. Fuck.
Yeah, if you're not in there right now, you definitely should be.
So what do I have to do?
Martin, the way this is gonna work is that you need to like, do you have a pair of earphones you can plug directly into your iPad? Or are you able to plug your earphones into your iPad?
No.
Okay. Do you have headphones at all? Like Bluetooth headphones or AirPods or anything like that?
I do have headphones, but they don't work my iPad because they're not the iPad compatible, I guess.
All right.
What kind of
So
headphones do you have?
What is it like? I'll say Sony. Oh, yeah, I'm gonna grab.
So what you can do? Oh, this is so wild. Like Jamel, you hitting the play button or the go live button really jacked us up, but that's okay. What you can do is you can just talk into your iPad. Like you can just use your iPad speaker and the microphone built in and talk right into that. The only thing that I'm going to ask you to do is to let's see here. You're going to want to. I was going to say mute yourself on stream, but you can't do that either because we're going to end up hearing an echo. So what you can do is you can mute yourself on stream. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
All right, and I'm going to send you a link. I'm going to send you a link via DM. What you're going to do is join there with the audio so that I can have your audio piped into this StreamYard room. So when you talk, like people are going to be able to hear you in StreamYard. And we'll be able to hear you in the call-in room also, if that makes sense at all.
Yep.
I know it sounds super complicated, but you know, if you don't have like a headphone setup, then we gotta do a little bit of a workaround. All right, so give me 1 second. I'm going to send you the I'm gonna send you the details.
I want to be salient
through your Twitter DM. Yeah, I'm gonna be salient to send you the details.
Damn, I gotta step over my dog. You had no respect for me.
All right, so cool. Did you get that? So you should be able to join the. You should be able to join the Google Meet room.
Fuck it.
So check your Twitter DMs. You should have it.
Oh, my bad, Shakur. My bad, bro. I didn't even mean to do that. Just know I didn't need to do that shit. Somebody hating on my dog name? I'm about to oil this salad down.
Oh boy. Martin, did you get the link?
Yeah, I'm putting it in here now.
Okay.
About to oil this thing down. Yo, we ain't shit.
I know.
I fuck with craisins, but I can't really fuck with it in my salad.
Nah, crazy.
I can't. Listen, baby spinach
created by Nazi Germany, right? You know that, right?
Man, stop it. No, they were not.
Craisins were created in the lab during the Holocaust.
Stop playing.
I hate this nigga.
I know. No, baby spinach, sliced strawberries, craisin, and strawberry vinaigrette salad dressing. Elite.
Oh hell yeah.
Elite.
That's what I got now. Well, I got pomegranate junk right now, but I like this a apple pecan salad.
Okay, so here's what you're gonna do, Martin. I'm gonna mute you and oh wait, that works. Yeah, we already got you muted. Perfect.
Niggas be hating on salad.
Now, do you have any headphones you can plug into your computer? Okay, or what you can do is right click on the Google Meet tab, like whatever Chrome or Firefox browser you have it open in. Right click on the tab and then click on mute site.
Someone says it's too late to eat. No such thing.
Only if you're intermittent fasting, otherwise you're good.
Yeah. Calories in, calories out. Calories in, calories out.
I still ain't get my probiotics yet. They still ain't send me my shit.
You fucking up, bro. You gotta get that.
Yeah, I am, bro.
All right, Martin, you get that? You were able to mute the site?
I'm gonna get that shit oiled down.
I can hear you, but what you got to do is right click on whatever tab you have open for Google Meet and also for StreamYard, and you got to mute it.
I'm skinny as shit. I can eat at any time, except I got a I never used to be this small, bro.
Yeah, I'm good. I don't hear an echo now. Perfect.
No, I'm just
Okay.
I've been in the gym every day,
And
boy.
what's your username on Call-In?
Niggas getting nigga. I mean, it's cool.
Niggas, you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to get. I'm
What
already
is it?
out here though. I'm trying to actually slim down a little bit. Trying to get to this like 195.
Still be free.
I'm like 205 right now, something like that.
Got the running back.
Yeah, literally. I'm trying to get down to like a strong cornerback.
195.
Okay, got you. All right. So I'm gonna invite you into the show. Okay. Never on schedule, but always on time.
Let's just pretend that we said we are gonna start at 10:30.
Yeah,
I said 10:45.
Bro, my cat be begging, bro. He be begging like he never ate food before.
You ever give him house food?
Yeah, that's why I give him chicken before. Ever since then,
I
he ain't
know
never
big as
been the
shit, but I
same.
try not to give him no food. Even though his stomach, I know his stomach because he big as shit. But I try not to give him no house food. Don't stop my kids from giving it to him though.
We got 13 people. I don't think I can see who's actually looking like on Twitch unless they comment. We can't see who's watching unless they comment.
It's all good.
Yeah.
I'm a real nigga, no matter who watching.
He said, I'm a Brooklyn nigga anyhow.
Why is it not letting me invite you as a guest? What is going on here? Till we free. Oh, it says you're offline. Are you even logged into Call-In right now? Is your app open?
I think he muted. Oh.
Yeah, he had to mute himself. But yeah, man, you gotta open your app.
What would you?
No, what would you do if I if I just
weak, bro?
He said, what would you do if I just like if I
man, if you would
drop my if I just drop my
Okay, cool. Martin is online. I'm gonna invite him into the show.
I would not get my hair cut by that nigga, man. I would not, bro.
I would get Zeke fucking with him, bro.
Man, the YouTube and Rumble audience is seeing like all behind the curtain right now.
Yeah, honestly, just consider it bonus BTS footage.
Right.
How real niggas act in
Why can't I invite you as a guest? What is going on?
What would you?
Hold on. My cat looking at the door like somebody's about to try to hit a lick on.
Till we free.
I'm so
okay, Martin. Here's what I'm gonna do. All right, I'm gonna go live. Okay, are you checking? Like, do you have your Call-In app open? Martin, are you there?
Martin,
are you there? Martin, are you there?
I don't think he can hear you.
Yeah, he might have us all the way muted.
Let me message him. I can unmute his mic, I think, right? Yeah. Oh, it says I can't unmute because they chose to mute themselves. That's kind of fucked up.
What would you?
I don't know what that's about.
I don't know what that means.
I think they just called us the hard R.
I don't know. I'm gonna assume that until otherwise clarified. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and start.
Bet. Let me get in the room.
Well, if you smell and look like a pig, I guess you gotta act like one, don't you? All right, fellas, get out.
Yo, we ghetto. Okay.
Oh shit.
We don't call in yet, bro?
We're good. We're live right now. How's it going?
In calling?
Yep, we are
It's
live.
all love. It's all love.
Yeah,
Yo.
you live in calling too, but it looks like your microphone may not be connected because when you talk, I don't see nothing. I don't see or hear anything.
I can see my joint. It's highlighting on mine. You can't hear me?
No, okay. Yeah. All right. If it's highlighting on yours, then we're good. Anyhow, and
people saying I can't cook, but this food that I made is amazing. I just want to say.
Yeah, thanks for the update.
What would you?
What would you do if I? What would you? What would you? If I just? Man,
yo, I'm hella weak, yo. But really getting down to business here. I don't see too many people in the okay, people coming in now.
Yeah, there's a few people coming in. You know, they've just been notified that we're live.
Yeah.
And we're only a half an hour behind.
Oh, is well, I call it early for tomorrow. You know.
Yeah.
We ain't here. But did you want to wait for some people to get into
the tough part is getting guests in here is all. Okay, so Martin, are you there? Can you hear us? Okay, no, it's all good. I'm gonna get you piped in a second. So for some reason, like, okay, follow me on Callin. Like, you gotta, if you check your followers, you'll see that I'm following you. So follow me back real quick.
What would you?
What would you? If I
just. What would you?
I can't believe they had that Black Guns Matter guy on Fox News, man.
Oh, no. Wait, who was that?
I can.
He's tweeted some stupid shit on Twitter before, like.
Because he's socially conservative.
Yeah, I just followed.
He's fiscally conservative.
He's one of those bring masculinity back type niggas.
Yeah,
but yeah. Like they don't really know what they mean when they say that. It's just kind of like a platitude, empty platitude. Like if you ask them what do they mean by that, they start naming general values that should apply to any human being. Like you should be you should be able to build something. Well, I mean, anyone should be able to build something. Like
so sorry, Martin. If you check your messages right now, you should have just gotten an invite to join the room.
Yeah.
What would you?
Okay. Once you join the room, then you'll be able to hear the rest of us speak. Everything will be good.
Let me ask you something.
Man.
We gotta put that nigga on the soundbite too, y'all.
We need to get that nigga on the stream.
Yeah,
that'd be hilarious.
I want to get him and I want to get Lou Ratchet. I don't know if y'all know Lou Ratchet.
Yeah.
That dude's funny as hell. Sup with y'all little niggas, man.
Where your mom at?
Yeah, nigga, where your mom at, nigga? Yeah, nigga, where your mom at, nigga? Bro, that man remembers every ounce of his childhood, every moment of his childhood.
Niggas trying to flirt with your mom hit home for me though. Those niggas trying to flirt with your mom. I was like, hey, yo, you gotta chill.
Martin, did you check Colin and get the invite to join the room? I don't see
y'all are silly, bro.
This man's back offline again. What is going on? Bro, Martin, you killing us.
Yeah, sorry.
You gotta leave your app open, bro.
I'll leave it open. Okay.
Yeah, you can't turn the Colin app off or minimize it.
So are we talking about King Randall? I guess that's his name. I honestly I don't know.
Sent you a message. I haven't gotten anything yet though.
If it's the guy that
you didn't get an invite.
Yeah, nigga.
I know he's on Twitter though.
Send it through Colin.
Oh, who's on Twitter? Blue Ratchet?
Nah, the black guns matter, dude.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, man, are those the same dudes from the Not Fucking Around coalition?
Niggas with guns do matter, but that black
Yeah,
guns
but
matter shit.
it's a sort of like
I get what you're saying.
Yeah, ideologically they a little
I was about
all
to say
over
their
the place.
politics is always conservative.
Yeah, they don't got it figured out.
No,
and D's the homie though.
Because the thing is,
I do get major op vibes off of them too.
D's the homie. If you want to come on, they can come on whenever.
Yeah, nah, for sure. But now the issue is like,
open this Twitter. Give me a second.
It's sort of it's a sort of like you were saying, like there's a social conservative element to it.
Yeah, check your Twitter DMs too, Martin.
That doesn't really put it this way. It's like self-determination, but and integrated it more from like an assimilative perspective. Like it's like self-determination to be. It's like actually that ain't even no such thing. That's just pure, American rugged individualism. That's really all it is. But it's like, but it's from the perspective of like it's under the guise of community. Like it's a very weird. Somebody need to theorize that because it's like it is a really weird sort of. There's a weird convergence between like black nationalist talking points and like straight right wing talking points. You know what I mean?
Well, that's because as Robert Allen pointed out in the 60s. You had a literal campaign funded by the Ford Foundation that sought to conflate black power with black capitalism. So you got a whole bunch of niggas who only understand black power within the lens of like markets. So it's like it's ugly, but it was a distortion of Stokely Carmichael's understanding of black power. But that's what you get now.
So this dude made your tour. Oh, okay, I didn't know all this about him. Was a candidate for an at-large seat in Philadelphia City Council. Ran as a libertarian.
Yeah.
Bro, what the fuck?
Wait. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, Second Amendment rights. It's whatever, but
libertarians they
I used to follow him, and I forgot why I used to follow him, but he started doing like anti-communist rants, and I was just like,
yeah.
Not mine.
Anytime that you see black people going on the anti-communism rant, they're bought and sold already.
Yeah, that's why I was sort of like, because when you said that you saw him on Fox News, I was like, oh, I mean that's definitely that tracks because nigga really, like his gun, like his understanding of getting black people armed, I fuck with it, but he tracks off into that conservative wing, and I, like he be on like Candace Owens shows and shit like that.
Oh yeah, nah.
But you know what? The people who
No, I was asking if Martin got the link off. Wait a second, Rennie, how are you hearing me? I muted myself.
I'm a real nigga. I hear everything.
Oh, because you're listening to me on call-in. Hello. I bet. Oh, there he is. All right, cool.
We got him.
Yeah, we got him. Inviting him to speak. Finally.
All right, we finally in here.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him. You got
love to hear it.
Yeah.
All right, let me stop eating my salad then.
All right,
I had this thing oiled down.
The mute button is in the lower right-hand corner, the microphone. There you go.
All right. You got me?
Yeah, we got you.
Yeah, we got you.
It's too late to be using all these.
Bro. All right, so what you're also going to have to do now is the Chrome tab. Actually, it's fine. I'm just going to mute you inside of Chrome and we're good. No. You have to mute the tab. So if you right-click on the if you right-click on the Chrome tab and then mute yourself there.
Hey, yo, if y'all can do us a favor and, tweet out this link, just let niggas know we out here in these streets. We're
tweet out the link or retweet the link we already shared.
Yeah, that'd be great.
You know the vibes. We appreciate the love.
So why can I not hear Martin now? Because I can't hear him inside of the Chrome.
I can't hear him either.
Bro, how did you mute everything?
Oh, no, wait. Nah, we got him. We got him.
You got it? Okay. Because now I can't hear him inside of Chrome. How did you do that? You're not even muted in there. This is wild.
I hear him.
Okay, no, we can hear him in calling, but it's whatever. We'll figure it out. Yeah, how am I not hearing you in Chrome?
I hear him.
Yeah, you hear him because you're hearing him through calling.
How you know?
Yeah,
on calling, yes. I'm not sure if they can hear you on screen.
Let me check. I can check.
Yeah,
oh yeah,
yeah, exactly. His voice is not audible on YouTube. So
are you muted on YouTube? Yeah, you mute. All you gotta do is So you don't basically go to the StreamYard, Martin, and unmute. Go to the bottom, and just basically you want to unmute your actual. Because I can't unmute you.
Inside of StreamYard, where you're seeing
inside of StreamYard,
yeah,
you want to unmute that mic, but you want to keep the tab itself muted, but you want to unmute the mic.
Oh, okay. So essentially, inside of StreamYard, where we can see each other, your audio is not coming through for the people on YouTube. So I guess we're trying to figure out. But at first it was. So I guess we're trying to figure out what happened.
So whichever window that you have Chrome open in. Oh wait, no, he left the meeting. All right, come back into the meeting that I opened with you, the Google Meet room. I sent you a link inside your Twitter DM for Google Meet, so go back to that link. Damn, I feel like we're making this man's life miserable.
We're loafing here. As you can see, we've been live for 52 minutes.
Yeah, and we almost the entirety of that 52 minutes. We've been trying to get Martin's audio situation set up.
Oh man,
it's okay. We'll get through it.
What's up, Kitty?
We appreciate it too, bro.
Yeah. So inside of Twitter, where I sent you the first DM where it says to join the video meeting, click on this link. So on your computer, click that link. How's it going over there?
Okay, click that. I clicked it on my computer. All right.
I don't think people know how good this salad is.
Ain't no salad that good, bro. Sorry, y'all, for the technical difficulties. We'll be ready in a sec.
They can hear him.
They said they got it.
They can hear
Thank
him.
you. Appreciate that. All right.
We got that thing over there.
Okay, yeah, no, we can hear you. I'm not sure exactly what happened. Whatever, anyway, we can go ahead. Sorry, everybody, for the technical difficulties. Jamil, please go ahead and unmute yourself, bro. Inside a call.
There's an echo, so somebody got to turn this shit down.
Oh, let me mute mine.
That's me. Well, before you mute anything, because that's what caused the problems last time. Okay. So inside of Google Meet, what you're gonna want to do is right-click on whichever tab that you have open.
Yeah.
For Google Meet, and then just right-click on it, and then click where it says Mute Site, and you should be okay. But do not mute yourself in that room.
His mic is muted right now. In StreamYard.
That's okay because his voice should be carrying over.
Okay.
How's it now?
You guys can hear him, right? Okay.
Yeah, I can.
Okay.
Your echo? If not, then we're good. We can go ahead.
We good?
Randy, you're muted.
Yeah, we're good. Let's go.
Ain't no way. Ain't no fucking way.
Ain't no way, boy.
Cool. We good to go?
They're saying there's an echo. So who's that coming from?
Oh, that's Martin in the Google Meet room.
All right, so Martin just needs to unmute his Google StreamYard, right?
Nope. You know what? It's fine. Here's what I'm gonna do. All right. I'm gonna make this really easy on all of us.
Oh, he about to cancel some shit.
How about this? Everyone should be able to.
Yeah.
Wait, let's check the comments real quick. You guys can hear clearly? Martin, can you speak? All right. Yep, you guys, everybody good? Let's see the comments.
What you do, Q?
Oh, he did some Leviosa shit.
And Guardian Leviosa.
He working with the black arts over here and shit. All right, yeah, they're saying the sound is good. Why you ain't do this from the jump then, nigga? The fuck? Wait. Oh my gosh.
Okay, how about now? No. It should be fine now. It should be okay now.
How about now?
We need to get that thing.
Yeah, we got to. They said they can't hear Q or Martin.
No, they should be able to hear us now. I've just switched the audio feed.
Back like crook crack. Back like crook crack.
That's probably that sound like a Wayne bar.
By the way, I'm gonna let you know this is all your fault because you got no headphones or nothing.
It is what it is, man.
I can hear Q. I can hear it.
They said, okay, you can't hear. Okay, excellent. Martin did just say something. He said, you didn't hear him just now? The comments are just a little lag time between the comments.
It's fine. We're gonna have to deal with that.
No, they want Martin to speak so they can hear him.
Oh, check. 1 2 1 2. Check. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Mic check. They're saying we're echoing now.
You're gonna be echoing a little bit. Nothing we can really do about that.
Oh man.
Well,
be like that.
All right.
Is it unbearable, guys, or is it just a little bit?
It's a tiny bit of an echo. I can even hear it myself. But the only thing is, like, in order for us to hear Martin on the Twitch and YouTube stream, then I have to switch to the call-in audio source. So when you talk, they're hearing you both from StreamYard and from the call-in room. But in order for us to get your individual audio track inside of StreamYard, then it has to go like this. There's no way around it.
All right.
Anyway.
We'll do.
All right. Anyway, that took long as hell, and I'm very sorry to everybody that's listening and watching on YouTube and Rumble, etc. Our sincere apologies. We just had to work around some tech issues. But Martin, did you want to introduce yourself? Let the audience know a little bit more about you.
Yes. Martin Henson, him. I guess activist, organizer, executive director, B-Men Foundation, organization for Black men, serving the interests and unique issues of Black men. Done a good bit of organizing with BLM. With like 5 or 6 years. Left last year. Was a part of the BLM 10 group that split away from the global conglomerate or whatever you want to call it, whatever they call themselves nowadays. So yeah, that's the real casual intro for this conversation. But yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. And so go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead, bro.
No, we're probably gonna get to this anyway, but I know that I remember that letter came out, the BLM 10. I think maybe there might not be people who are familiar with that, so maybe you could just speak a little bit to that, sort of like, and I guess we're sort of going to end up speaking to that in general, but maybe in whatever context, maybe if you want to give a little bit of background, sort of like some of the issues that sort of arose, just as much details as you want to fill in for people who might not necessarily be, privy to that.
Yeah, I think anybody who's really interested in how chapters really navigated their relationships and with the BLM network, global BLM Inc. Yeah, I say that not trying to be funny. It's actually been a few different names and underlying orgs, corporations, individuals that have held that title throughout the years. But the BLM chapter statement.com really outlines the chapter's issues with BLM, BLM Global, let's say, which I'll be referring to them to as going forward. And there was the first initial statement that just kind of was a call for accountability and just acknowledging that there just hasn't been much transparency. We didn't really know where things were going, how things were happening. Chapters initially sought to be involved in the organization's movement and ongoing objectives. And then there was another statement that came out that really outlines what BLM is. This outlines just the structure and lack of structure that really defined what we understood it to be, which was very different from what the public understood it to be. So that's kind of the long and short of it, but I can get into particulars around what all of that means.
Just if I can push you a little bit further when you say that, there's a lot to be desired as far as their structure goes. What do you mean by that?
So I guess I have to rewind a little bit. If you track over time, and I had to rewind a good bit and tell you where I came in, and I can get to that.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you.
Yeah.
So I came in around to the BLM space around, I want to say 2015. That was a year after the Mike Brown verdict came down, after he was murdered by the police in Boston. And a lot of chapters that started pretty soon after Ferguson popped off. And those chapters started by having some contact with the initial groupings of BLM, some folks who were involved in that. So that might have been Patrice, that might have been Alicia. There was also other people in that collective that was helping create the first version of what the BLM, the global platform, the online platform, however they were describing themselves at the time. There was a larger network than just those three women. And people connected with someone in that to order to be validated as a chapter. And that happened in Boston around 2014, before I came in with a group of folks. I came in that next year, really was down organizing and involved. I think early on, I bought into it heavy because I thought this was just a move. So whether it had came from, Black, queer, feminism, activists, Marxist, socialists, it's just whoever was getting busy, that's where I was at. And this was kind of the featured point. So I was like, all right, I'm going to kind of go with what they're going and really swallow up the talking points and the ideological positions. I actually knew a lot of this stuff on the website by heart. And you can look me up on YouTube, actually, like going through talking with people about what things meant. But over time, and very quickly within that next year, I realized, there's not really a lot of structure here. And what I attributed to early on was like, okay, maybe there's some type of, everybody in the beginning thought they was like the next coming of the Panthers, like the government going to swoop in and, start taking people out. But it wasn't really that sophisticated. And its goals and objectives were not such that I would think would even bring about this certain type of energy. But at the beginning, I thought it was just because, there's information that's kept here and there, and we don't want to be targeted in very particular ways. But over time, there was no grounding, there was no guidelines. That's what I can describe it as. People can kind of really act in whatever way they interpreted the direction of Black Lives Matter to be. And if you were significant, or if you kind of caught the attention of that initial group being the founders, then you kind of got the cosign. And that's kind of how chapters really aligned. Who got acknowledged and who didn't. Outside of that, I think there were a lot of legacy organizers in the sense that people who were already organizing in one way or another who moved under that banner. You understand what I'm saying? So it was less that BLM like created these people who to do this who wouldn't have otherwise done it. It was people who were largely already doing it who took on the name Black Lives Matter to describe and direct their organizing and bring attention to the issues that they were going about. So that's why you can go to different cities and have very different orientations, very different groundings. I think about Philly. Philly is very much in alignment with the MOVE folks and a lot of the folks who were political prisoners. So they had that feel. It's like a different level of being girded by like real movement folks. Cities had different things depending on where you was at and what the major features were. So I came in thinking that there was more to it, and ultimately over time became like really illuminated to me that there wasn't, and that it felt like a secret, to be honest. That like, I'm like, man, that people look at this and think this is like, oh, we out here like, Ram or something, you know what I'm saying? Or the Liberation Army, like we really that. And it really just wasn't that. It was just a lot of people showing up in response to the movement against police brutality. And this was kind of the banner that folks took on. And it really went hard on the identity politics in the sense that I remember, let me be 100% clear because, folks will act like this didn't happen. I remember when folks were saying that if the Panthers were just led by women, that they would have been successful.
I remember that
too.
I remember that.
Not acknowledging that they were led by women.
Yeah. And I was like, I was like, okay, I had the mentality. Maybe it's something I just don't. Maybe it's my internalized misogyny or what kind of the ways. Right. Like, that's how I was like, I must not understand because I've been reading too. So, but over time, it was really much what became more apparent to me and present to me. Now, Patrice and Alicia and Ope, like they was like legit organizers. Like I ain't never gonna take that away from them. But the goals and objectives relative to what people were doing on the street were like a little bit different. And a lot of the prevailing sentiment early on was that if you just let women lead, all of these problems would go away. Like get free, like very specifically related to identity, with queerness being like a marker of marginalization and a marker of like skill and kind of inherent capacity to be in leadership positions, and they have been unable to do that because Black men have engaged them in the patriarchal way. That was kind of the talking points. You couldn't say nothing. I don't know how people moved in 2015, 2016.
Oh no, I know exactly. I know exactly what you mean. You couldn't. It was shut up and listen.
Because it was.
And I think many people did in that moment. It wasn't really. I think many people did. Like there was a moment where it was just like shut up and listen. And like I think for a little while people went with it. And you started to get pushback after a while because there just was no real result other than that. Like you allow people to like speak that, right? Because like you said, back in 2013, niggas was just saying, okay, that's internalized misogyny, right? Like just like you said. Maybe that's what that is, and I'm sure to some extent, the instinctual pushback to that may have been, but the inclination to drive results amongst the masses is a totally different thing, and I think that's what you were about to get to. But I'm sorry, you could finish.
Yeah, so. That was the thing. So I felt like for years I was holding this secret where people were really perceiving this to be something that it just fundamentally wasn't. So, over time I had to start really reading, and I really took it personally for a long time because you're dealing as Black men, you're dealing with all this trauma, and you're like, man, what is folks on? Like, like why are y'all here? Like, in a sense, I knew why I was coming out. But it became more and more apparent to me that people had different goals. So I went back and I started looking at This is after all of the stuff happened, after all the BLM 10 stuff, and I'll come back to that. And I tell people, go read what they said about what they wanted to do. Like Alicia, Patrice, Opal, read those early interviews about how they described what their goals were. Their goals were to build new leadership and to bring the conversation and expand it out from being focused just on men to all the ways that white supremacy impacts the world, Black people, which is fine. Like that's a dope thing to want, and I don't knock it. The problem that came about is that when people were specifically responding to police brutality and seeking objectives and goals to end that, you came about and said, hey, I want to do this. So when people are showing up at all of these rallies and all of these, conferences and all these things with this particular objective in mind, that's what galvanized them. He's saying, hey, we actually want you to do this instead, moving this way. And didn't really have a strong bridge to pull people who might be in the hood, who may have never thought about this, into these issues that you feel like need more information. So what you started to see very early on was that the support around BLM became more and more white. Mm-hmm. Black people couldn't relate to it because that's not what they were. They were not coming out for an expansive set of issues, and they didn't have a strong bridge to get from one set of issues to the next. So a lot of dudes early on was like, yeah, nah. Like early on. Mm-hmm. Like I remember talking to a lot of older cats, and they was like, nah, they not really here for us. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't until maybe 4 or 5 years later that I had to go back to apologize to some cats. And I was like, hey, you was right. Now I'm not saying they was on the gay agenda to say no homophobic stuff like that, but people was right on calling it. They had a different thing that they were looking for, and there was some alignment with the goals and objectives of the movements, and there was something that just actually that was kind of what they thought that this moment could be. Mm-hmm. And $90 million later, this where we at, you know.
I think there's sort of like an assumption, and in many ways it sort of works to the detriment of the issues that affect our communities. Because what often happens, particularly when we talk about police violence, right? We understand that like police violence may disproportionately affect a group within our communities. But when we say we always, like, for example, one thing became sort of like this highlight, well, we always march, we always do this, that, and that for Black men, right? And that became sort of the trope. But what became misaligned in that trope is that, well, Black men just so happen to be, you know, the disproportionate group who actually get shot and killed by police. But even in tandem with that is this idea that you can actually disaggregate the deaths of Black men from Black communities, right? So it's like, yeah, what, irrespective of whether that's a man, woman, or child, that's gonna have a severe impact on the community that you see. So oftentimes when these these murders occur, you always see a community effort, and then you see these organizations come into the communities, and then it gets, it becomes, riddled with all of these, these ideologies and politics. And like you said, what happens oftentimes is these organizations come into the communities assuming that these communities have an ideology like they do. Like the communities are seeing it only for the Black men, when in actuality, they are seeing it in a very communal sense. The Black man may have been murdered, yes, but that affects children, that affects mothers, that daughters, sisters. And I think when we sort of like superimpose our ideologies, or, a lot of these organizations superimpose their ideologies onto these communities, that's the kind of effect that you get. Because I remember just like watching videos or reading a lot about what was going on in Ferguson, and like a lot of people who were there early just kind of say that like at the beginning everything was sort of a communal effort, and you had organizers come down there, and all of a sudden it became, these people need to be in the front, and then it just became this big disarray. So it's interesting.
Yeah. I wanted to kind of speak to what you brought up an interesting point, Martin, particularly in sort of like, like who are there's definitely some conversation to be had around like who are these people showing up for, right? Or rather, what are they showing up for? And obviously, like hindsight 2020, it's apparent that, I mean, book deals and like all these things, and it's like, that's all noble if every time you get some bag, you're like, look, in a very transparent way, look, I'm literally taking this, it's not even hitting my bank account, but for 2 seconds, it's immediately going back out. And there's sort of this, people when they're sort of on that sort of when they're in that pre-stage, right? When they say they're an activist who's not a grifter, this is what they say they'll do. If I got money, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to redistribute it. All these sorts of things, and it never happens. And I do think it's interesting, like early on, because there were a lot of interesting narratives that were sort of, like even in the sense of like, it's almost taboo to point out like, hey, there's nothing wrong with centering other groups. But like, it's almost disingenuous to pretend that when we look at the police deaths, right, it's literally in any given year, 96% of all the deaths are Black men. You know what I mean? And it's like, this is not to say this is the only form of police violence that matters, or because Black women, Black queer sex workers, like they're vulnerable to a lot of forms of invisible violence that doesn't get tracked on by data points, right? Because of the ways in which the police can sort of, manipulate their power, right? Coercion and things like that. So it's not to say that there's only one dimension that we should have this conversation, but it is to say that there was a lot of like, it was sort of like, this is the fulcrum that's the glue to the movement, is like these deaths that keep happening. And then on top of that, like when we talk about the visualization aspect of it, like, have you ever seen, and there might be examples, but like off the top of my head, I always tell people, like, aside from that one white boy who was killed in Vegas, I've never seen a white man killed by the police on camera. And in the aggregate, there are more white male deaths by the police, right? Like in the aggregate, because they have a higher population count. And yet you never see, and you might say, oh, media this, media that, but it's like, why is that, right? And then same with Black women, like there's been Black women killed by police, but I haven't seen a video of a Black woman killed in cold blood, body laying on the ground, leaking. Like I don't want to see that either, right? But it is to say there's a particular. It's like we can't ignore that there's something interesting happening specifically with Black men in this sort of phenomena, right? And I think people were sort of like, we're really interested in sort of everything, that all the capital that we can extract from it, but we're not really interested in that actual story. You know what I mean? And so I think a lot of that translated when you see people showing up and it culminates in people like Al Sharpton showing up to a George Floyd event. You know what I mean? And it's like, what the fuck is Al Sharpton here for? Right. So it's just like, I think there was a lot of it, and I think we almost moved in. There have always been activist grifters, like that's not new, but I think we almost in this sort of age of media information, and like there's almost been like a new. It's like sort of it's sort of evolved right into like a new form where like if there's a protest, like boom, here's my opportunity to pull a Sean King. You know what I mean? Like there's so many. Yeah, not like how many orgs has Sean King fake started? You know what I mean? Like it's and it keeps happening. And the funny thing is, it's like people who had accused Sean King are now like the person's doing the grifting. You know what I mean? So it's like it's crazy.
I've always said that Sean King, people got a lot to say about his racial ambiguousness or whatever is going on with him, and the way that he moves and exploited ways.
No ambiguity. That is a white man.
White. His white man. I think there's a part of me that never wants to pull anybody's blackness away, so I always categorize him.
Well, he has to have blackness in the first place for you.
Right. But the interesting thing about this, well, there's many interesting levels and layers about it, but I always found it interesting that Sean King was always the focal point around grifting. And I was like, keep that same energy with everybody. You know, why is y'all got all jokes for him? And I done seen a few folks that's like us that been on the same wave. And I was waiting. And honestly, if I had heard other people speaking about this more publicly, I wouldn't even have said nothing. But I've been waiting for years. I'm like, all right, when y'all gonna say what I done seen? When y'all gonna say things that I understand? But privately, people be like, and you know, speaking whispers and like, how you know how they move.
Hell yeah.
But why ain't you saying nothing?
Yeah,
you know
man. That's true. That's true, man. I mean, I've had people come in my DM say, "Yo, this da 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 da," but ain't never been public about it. Like the DMs be heavy with a lot of shit. Like you said, whispers, but niggas don't really be popping out like that. But I do have another question for you. And maybe this sort of like goes to the beginning, and I didn't get to this part. But what galvanized you particularly to like get involved, or were you prior like
hold on, Rennie's breaking up for me. Is he breaking up for y'all?
No, you just can't hear.
Okay, so it's just me. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so like what got you in prior, like, or were you already doing some type of work, and what was it that made you say this the last straw, like I can't mess with this no more?
This. So my family has always been really like people workers. And doing, like, my grandmother did, you know, working at NAACP, both my mom, my dad's side, my stepdad's side, everybody was getting busy. So my stepdad would make me read Black history when I was younger, reports. I couldn't watch TV before a certain time, you know, like that. I remember when I was growing up, being 8 or 9, having Native Son sitting in the bookshelf. You understand what I'm saying? And doing book reports on, you know, on who Oprah was and who Langston Hughes was and Maya Angelou. I came to school knowing all of that. Everybody was having Black History Month, so I was just girded in a different way. You know what I mean? So I get older, so it's always been an undercurrent for me. So I tell people this all the time because I think I'll be dishonest if I didn't name all the influence, because I have learned a lot from this movement and how to think about Black women and how to understand all the issues and all of that, expanding in so many ways I didn't expect. But when I was like getting ready to move and like it was time to get busy, what I was watching was Hidden Colors. Like Tariq Nasheed, his thing with all the history. That's what I was watching. Like now, some bullshit.
Yeah, now it's funny. We was talking about that too, like how that's a, you know, it radicalized a lot of people.
It's not even a radicalizing. It's really it's the curiosity that like really piques your interest. Like, for example, you might watch 1804, right? And so you watch that nigga's 1804. You learn a little bit about the Haitian Revolution. That might make you pick up CLR James. And if you pick up CLR James, you're not going back to Tariq Nasheed. So it's like it becomes, you know, like it becomes one of those springboards. So I get what you're saying. And then you learn that that's bullshit once you read, you know, CLR. So
I think for me it was a Haitian dude that put me on the Hidden Colors. Ironically, dude named Francois and shit. And I remember reading that, and then I remember my pops was like, "Yo," he gave me this book. It was Check Diop, African Origin and Civilization. So then I got into that, you know, and kind of kept going. So
yeah, definitely.
That was before, you know, hotel became a slur.
Yeah,
right. You know, it was a lot of that. So I was reading, I was writing, and I was like, "Look, man, it's time." I was in Arkansas at the time. It was time for me to. I wanted to move. I got a master's in counseling. I was going to practice in different states because Arkansas was harder to get the licensure. And I was like, man, I'm trying to get busy. I've been up at Boston before through another program, and I was there over the summers. And I was like, it's really now or never, because I know, you know what I'm cut from and know what I need to do. And that's how I felt. As I remember very clearly making that decision, like, hey, this is what I'm gonna do. It might have been the stuff between Trayvon and Mike Brown was probably happening around that time. I mean, I wasn't even watching TV, just reading. I had hit, like, I don't even know if I've ever said this publicly. I had Hidden Colors on so much that I could recite it.
He
bro,
said,
they don't have no shame, bro.
They're gonna start calling you a Superhotep on Twitter.
Nah, bro, ain't no shame in that. Man, ain't no fucking shame in that. Niggas be acting like they came out the womb, you know.
Yeah, nah, you let them feel like they had never had a problematic thing or anything in their life.
If you from where I'm from, nigga, like, they make sure that you can't read that type of shit, man. Like, and you in the bookstore be down the street. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the funny thing. So it's like, bruh, like I do not downplay niggas and where they came from, because niggas be acting like they came out Lieutenant fucking Huey P. Newton and shit. Like, I'm like, man, come on, man. I got it. But nah, go ahead, man.
Reading all of that, you know, the Martin and the Malcolm and Angela Davis. I had Angela Davis stuff on repeat. Yeah. I used to listen to Malcolm stuff on repeat. When I wanted to get gassed up before I went to a rally, I would listen to Malcolm at his speech, not even being planning on being asked to speak. Like, I'm just ready, because I was just in mode. And and that's what really carried me, because when I first came up to Boston, I didn't have a place to stay or a job. Like, I was really in that mode. You feel me? And when I got here, I kind of figured out ways and lanes to get into it, but I didn't understand organizing practice and methodology.
Right.
That came a little bit later. And once I started seeing that, I'm like, oh, y'all just out here freestyling, huh? Y'all do it. And I think the urgency for me is I realized that before our marker was, you know, the Huey Newtons and the Malcolms and Marsha P. Johnson for some people, or Bayard Rustin, like all of those folks that was out here moving. And when people set the marker to Patrice, I hate to name her specifically, but I had to say this because people looked at the way that she moved and the goals and accolades that she had and said, I want that. So when folks came into movement, they were immediately looking to have platforms. Immediately. So they didn't understand, and to give her credit, that she came from an organizing background all her life. I read all their stuff. I know, you know, I understand them well enough to kind of see at least how they began. Where things turned, I can't really speak to that, but folks came in saying, hey, I have this particular analysis around identity, so I should have this space, and my skills are good enough to be able to push things forward in these objectives that we have to a particular space, and we're not particularly good at it. So I've seen a lot of jockeying for space. It felt like Game of Thrones, man. Like people were like, hey, have you heard anything about this person? I don't know. Like, and that'll be something that if there was ever a position that somebody could gain or get a little edge on you as it related to, you know, local politics or national status, that was the piece. So I was like, is this normal? Like, is this what everybody do? And I didn't really know, because everybody who was around kind of had that mentality or that mode, like, it's my time. You feel me? And you see the young folks out here, they go to a protest or a march or a rally, and they like throwing out their social media handles. Like,
yeah, we seen that. Remember you remember that, right, Rennie? We went to we was in little march in DC, and you know, I don't remember Shorty name, but you know, he did a whole little, you know, bunch of platitudes, abolish the police, you know, that whole jazz. And then, y'all follow me on Instagram, follow me on Twitter, you know, that whole spiel. And it's like, okay, so this was just like an ad, basically. Like, you know what I mean?
You know what's
interesting? You commodifying your own presence. Like, that's crazy.
What's interesting to me, like, though there has been a lot of like understanding around like the identity politics in BLM, from your understanding, because I've read that, they had like a Marxist socialist background, like at least some of the leaders.
Oh yeah. Well, that's what they
And
said.
so I want to, and that's always been my question, like to what extent, at least to your understanding and your experience, was there like an adherence to any like Marxist principles, or was that ever established? Like, was there ever any political education or around that? Like, okay.
A thing. A lot of places it really wasn't a thing. And here's what I never saw that personally. I can speak for myself, and I can speak for myself. I never saw that. What I saw that people would use instead was identity politics, and this is something that, by virtue of having certain identities, that your experiences were, let's say, more negative, and that was able to supplant some of these ideological pieces. So that didn't come with it. So that's why I said
that's interesting.
Because that automatically seems reactionary if you're not going to have an understanding.
Oh yeah, but we kind of knew that. I remember one of the which one, it might have been Colors or it might have been the other one, but they got on the interview and definitely said, "Oh yeah, we're Marxists by training," and all of media use that soundbite to sort of frame BLM as like a communist. That's where like yeah.
What's Marxists by training?
Yeah,
I was about to ask that shit too.
Yeah.
On to the new member of school. What is
and it's actually wild because there's a whole. It's funny because it's actually frustrating to see this sort of narrative that frames the org. From the right, they think it's like derogatory, but on the left, I'm like, damn, I wish the org was all the things that you guys say it is. You know what I mean? Like, I wish it was everything that you guys say it is. I wish they was as violent as you say they were. You know what I mean?
And then again, like you said, like based on this experience, and I guess, like you said, based on the chapter, based on the location, like if you, for example, if you in an area where there's a history of like, Marxism in that area, they may have been more, oriented towards that. So I guess it just depends on that too. But for the leaders to sort of like suggest that, they were trained Marxists, yet none of their, principles seem to be, ensconced in any of that. It was interesting.
It was competing goals because on one hand you have responding and reacting to police brutality with, you want it to be a Black organization with Black folks that are coming in. And there are other goals that, hey, we want to build up leadership that is queer centered, that follows Black queer feminism. Like those two things will clash because when opportunities came to really advance and build the organization, there kept being these moments where they say, okay, but we want to uplift these people. And when those people didn't necessarily have those skills, things would just kind of fall down again. And then when you start building up again, and they're like, all right, well, we want it to be these people. Because their whole premise was that things were going to go easier or they would be closer toward our objectives if this was, let's say, queer feminist centered. And I think as an ideology, Black queer feminism that's not the type of struggle that it takes on. So it didn't really make a lot of sense to me after I kind of thought about it over time and read more to kind of center that as a movement orientation, because that's just what the orientation that people came with. That's what they were trying to do while also trying to build stable organizations. So when you were dealing with, let's say, low class Black people who were coming in, reacting to the struggles in their community, and you're saying, hey, I want you to move under this organizing principle, they're like, what are you talking about? So you have moments like the convenings where people are like, there's like large clashing where folks are like,
oh yo, what's good?
Where they're like, what are y'all talking about? Why you getting paid? We ain't getting paid. Why folks still in jail if y'all really about what you say you about?
Right.
So that's those things. And again, rewinding, I keep giving them their credit because people gonna try to take it. I was like, oh, you just hating. I was like, no, they were dope organizers that just tried to overextend where they were and what they brought to the movement and say, hey, we're going to make an organization based off of this. And it just never worked. It never worked like that because you can't make a hashtag into a movement like that The movement was already here. It was hands up, don't shoot. It was hashtag Ferguson. That was the one that caught. And you know what I'm saying? And they did a lot of work to build things around it, but it just didn't work well. And told everybody to go through them. Everybody, nobody else was real. Trying to make themselves the farthest point on the left.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like it took time to understand what all of this meant, because I felt like I had to see it in a silo, because, you know, everybody was afraid to say something, because it's, you know, it's different shadow moves that people play on the back end to kind of hold that space.
Yeah.
And, you know, so that's kind of, you know, my thoughts around that. I'm sorry if I'm rambling a little bit, but
nah, you good. I mean, it's just like you said, like there has to be some sort of like competing claims there. Particularly like if you want to center this ideology, you want to center this group, and then the group for which are being killed the most at that particular time is a different group for which there's like this ideological antagonization there, you're gonna have problems. Tell us a little bit. Oh, shout out to the comrade FB right there. We actually went to a Marxist school of political education a few years back together. That's what they referenced it there. Shout out to them. But what I was about to ask you. So tell us a little bit more about. Tell us a little bit about your current foundation, what you do now, and you know how you move towards that, and you know the work that you've taken up, and some of the things that you've learned from BLM, some of the good things that you've been able to establish from them and pull over, and yeah. Okay. Oh, 1 second, bro. 1 second, bro. They said you cut out on YouTube.
I brought him back. We good.
Oh, can y'all hear him now?
Yeah, you can hear me? Check.
Let me see.
My live.
Yeah, they should be able to hear you now.
Okay. Yeah, just start from the top. My bad, bro.
Yeah, I was rolling. Where's that? Oh, B-Men Foundation, organization for Black men, responding to the specific needs and issues of Black men. Actually came more as a response to Me Too than the movement. What I realized during the movement, it's like some of the most hostile space I've ever been in as a Black person, because you had the right, conservative right, openly advocating for the extermination or disregard of Black men, and then you had the progressive left saying that Black masculinity made us inherently bad and like in a lot of ways insalvageable, spawning things that went kind of viral on Twitter, like bullet bags and abolish Black men and that type of thing. So you were getting it from both ends. And it was really contradictory to me that this was happening in response to a certain type of violence that Black men are the predominant victim of. That is one piece. The other piece is that Me Too happened. My first response was coming from a more feminist lens. So I had a progression from feminism to Black male studies over this time. Feminism was never my centering lens, but I was like, all right, it can inform my work so starting with B-Men, I was like, okay, you know, men need to respond better to the violence against women. And then I can do this specifically for Black men. Until I started asking Black men what their experiences were. I was like, oh, y'all got Me Too stories too. But ain't nobody gonna ever see you as no victim. And so I was like, all right, well, maybe we can have spaces just for us where we can just process. And that became, you know, B-Men's monthly meeting space that we've been doing for some years now, to just give Black men for other Black men, whether you know, straight, queer, trans, you just come in and build. And just process, talk about things that you're going through, things that you're feeling. And from there, we've done the Black straight men, trans women of color. We do, an event where we come together and we just talk around the stigmas that we both exist in and ways that we exist on and towards each other.
How has that been in particular, that one that you just mentioned?
Man, amazing. Because I expect it to be shunned. I expect it to be kind of like hated or disregarded just from the stuff you would hear in the movement. And you just learned a lot around how trans women exist in our community and the type of violence that it becomes casual and normal and the life expectancy. You see that. We had one woman that went to one of the things passed away since we started doing it. That's only been for maybe a year or two. And that's normal for trans women to have those losses. But I feel like being able to deal with and tackle and address the parts of maleness and masculinity that people kind of assume and get wrong around their position and the constrictions that Black men have and how it impacts them and how we can just kind of talk around it. Some of the most liberating conversations I've ever had.
Yeah, I myself have been in similar spaces, having those kind of conversations, and it's very, very contrary to like the kind of animus you get online. Like it's almost a completely different, connection there, and so I definitely understand that. But if I heard you correctly, initially, the foundation was in response to Me Too. Sort of like organizing Black men to respond better to sexual violence of women in general, right? And then through that, you started hearing stories yourself of well, damn, many of y'all are actual victims of this. So, and that created a completely different dynamic. So that is interesting because a lot of my work has done the completely same thing. And what's interesting about that particular conversation is a lot of us grow up with these stories, but we never really connect the dots, right? So because again, it becomes a interesting thing about language, right? Because you don't have the right articulation, you don't have the right language to even once you have the language, you can put those tools in place to see the bigger picture. And I literally have had friends my whole life, and we've had these conversations, but it's sort of like the dots never connected that, oh, you remember you told me that this happened to you, your daycare provider did this to you, and we probably just never, that was just a conversation, we never said anything. You told me your cousin did this to you and that never became a thing. This happened to me, that never became a thing. We never actually connected those dots because we didn't even have the language. So it's interesting how common that is for a lot of Black men, but because we didn't have the language, we never connected that. And I think that's something that Black male studies did for me. It gave me a language to even, sort of connect those stories and narratives. So
yeah, and I think that going back to the BLM, that's one of the things that made me so angry towards them is that it didn't allow Black men to be victims and to be motivated by their victimization. So here we're being killed at higher numbers and higher percentages than every other group, Black men specifically, and we're responding to that to frame our interest in movement orientation as inherently hegemonic, seeking to dominate others and other marginalized people in the community, doesn't allow us to be motivated towards our victimization and actually have approaches that end it. So we're having an increased response of misandry towards us for trying to prevent our own deaths. So that's the macro overlooking piece that I carry a lot of, I feel a lot of ways about, because that for them was appealing to progressive white liberals because it really didn't frame them any differently. Right. There's some way it actually increased the animus towards us, movement that's supposed to be preventing us from dying. So Black male studies really expanded the way I looked at it, and I actually have to credit you for putting me onto it, and it shifted my whole orientation towards the work that I was doing and moving towards evidence-based solutions as opposed to just ideology.
Definitely.
No word. Yeah, we're getting towards the end here. Yeah.
We wrap the show up. I want to make sure that people get the opportunity to come up on stage and ask questions.
Yeah, I was about to say, yeah, we want to
ask a question. But if anybody else wants to come on in to ask a question, feel free to raise your hand. You'll be placed into the queue, and we'll try to get to you as soon as we can. But first up, we can go ahead and take Mary on. And when I bring you on to speak, just make sure that you unmute yourself.
Can everybody hear me?
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, I got you.
Okay, word. Yeah, definitely appreciate the work that y'all are doing for sure. Like, open my eyes to a lot of stuff. I just I know that Rennie keeps track of a lot of like public stories of like black male celebrities or black male public figures. When they talk about their experiences as young boys, and I know that you just you just posted about the Jim Jones thing. I was wondering if you by chance looked at the whole Danny Brown situation. Like there was an incident earlier in his career where like a white woman, he was on stage performing, and a white woman basically pulled his pants down and started giving him head on stage. And like there was another woman that wrote an article about it and was basically saying like, yo, like a white woman basically sexually assaulted this black man. And, people were like trying to, basically socialize him in a way to where like he thought it was like cool or something. You know what I mean? And I just kind of like wanted to also throw that, your way. It's like a Vice article or something that you could probably look up. That kind of also goes into that. And and the woman was talking from the perspective of like this white woman basically sexually assaulted this black man. So I think like, you know what I mean? Just with the research that you're doing, I think that would be a cool thing that you could look up. You know what I'm saying? So I just wanted to throw that your way. You know what I mean? It's probably something that could help you in your research.
Definitely, bro. I definitely appreciate that. I've never actually, when you first mentioned Danny Brown, I was thinking Danny Boy, because there was actually something that happened with Danny Boy and Mary J. Blige. So that's not the story. So Danny, okay, so I'll definitely look into that. I appreciate that. But yeah, man, like these kind of things are like literally everywhere. And once you like get the language and the lens, it's almost ubiquitous. Like you start because people don't see it as actual sexual violence, they'll do it publicly. It's the same thing with like a lot of these videos with young black boys getting lap dances by grown women. Because people don't have the understanding that that's like sexual violence, they do it publicly. So it's everywhere. There's no need to even like hide it. So because people assume young black males want to be sexually aggressive, lascivious, because they just assume they always desire sex, they do these things, and it's crazy. And it's like, once you like start to get that language and connect those dots, it becomes everywhere. And it's like, well, damn, how does this affect someone mentally when you can't say no because the world imposes that on you? It's just crazy, But yeah, I appreciate that, bro.
Like, yo, you was getting head on stage, and you know what I'm saying? Like they was like bigging him up, and it was like a weird thing because like, the woman who was there, she was like a part of the tour or whatever. She was basically saying like, he was basically trying to finish his performance. He was like in the middle of spitting his verse or whatever, and this was just happening, and it was like he was just kind of like stuck there for a second. Then he just kind of pulled away. You know what I mean?
And just imagine all of the systems at work there. Like on the one hand, he's uncomfortable, right? Like he's like, I don't want to do this. But then he's thinking about how people would look at him if he does nothing or if he rejects it. How would people look to me, right? And more people would be concerned with his response, his reaction to that, more than how he actually felt in that moment. So I'm gonna definitely have to look at that.
Yeah, actually, the woman who wrote the article was actually even breaking that down, right? Like, like people were, this person has a persona, you know what I mean? So it's like people would look at that as like other men or other people would kind of reinforce, like, oh, you didn't want to get head or what, you know what I mean? Like, so
everyone will look at you some type of way.
Yeah. So, and then it kind of blew up like to a super level because like back that was like 2013, I think, and like Kendrick, he tweeted something about it. Was like, yo, like nigga, you was getting head on stage, nigga, like, you know what I'm saying? So it became like this whole thing, and it was like a viral moment for a second. And like he didn't really know how to process it, you know what I mean? So the woman wrote this article, and it's very in depth, you know. But it was just like people were kind of like trying to socialize him into thinking that it was like a cool moment, but it was just like a snap sort of thing. Like it just happened in the moment, and he was in the middle of doing his song, and this white woman, you know, just like pulled his pants down and started like, you know what I mean? Yeah, right. And it's just like, and people were just like, oh, that's normal. But then also on the flip side, they was trying to use that as like, you know, to be, look at this rapper, this hip hop music, this is misogyny, and he got, you know, like this was like they were trying to victim blame him. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like but this woman, she kind of goes into the complexities of it. So I just thought that with your research, it just might help you out. You know what I mean? So you should look into that.
Appreciate that, bro.
Yeah. Word.
Q, do we have someone else who wanted to? Is that discipline?
Hey, if you could just put your hand up to hop back on and speak again. That was my mistake. Oh, there we are.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, I have a question for Martin and then a question for Rennie. I just wanted to ask the primary question to Martin is, do you think that the Black Lives Matter slogan, do you think that's sufficient, or do you think that's kind of like a kind of regression from, like, you know, the 1960s, 70s Black Power slogan? Or, I mean, in current day, do you think that is just a little more like an appeal to, you know, an oppressive force, as opposed to, you know, a self-determining slogan?
First off, got to give credit to Marcus Anthony Hunter, sociologist out in California, who actually coined the slogan Black Lives Matter in 2012. Hasn't gotten his flowers. If you look him up, very, very rarely is it have I seen it acknowledged in media for reasons you can probably guess. But, I think the slogan is relative to its use and how people go out and do things in regard to it. So I don't think it was. I think I've heard a few conversations say, hey, well, maybe it should have been something different, or maybe it could have been this or that. But the slogan, for one, the slogan didn't have them as much power in the sense that it was within itself creating this thing. It was there in a moment that people were trying to say Black Lives Matter, and it was the clearest way to say it. There was few others that came about too that just didn't stick that way because it didn't quite reflect the moment that we were in. So that type of alignment, I don't know how often that's going to happen, relevant to the certain types of movement that we do. So I would say, I think more about what the utility is of it and the people that are using it. I think now was a lot less powerful than it was originally. Originally, it meant something a little bit more different around challenging the system, disrupting it, even creating a new one. Now it's a more so kind of corporate acknowledgement of Black sentiment. So that's my answer for you.
If I can say something, is that there's a problem with liberal co-optation of whatever revolutionary slogan. This happens all the time, and it's gotten to the point now. Like if I see somebody's Twitter profile and it's a white person with Black Lives Matter in the profile, immediate red flag.
Because like, what does that even mean to them at this point? You know,
and the thing is, the first people that will talk sideways to you, like if you're saying something that's making the white person uncomfortable, they will wild the fuck out on you and say some shit. They'll say some racist shit to you, with the Black Lives Matter hashtag in their profile. And what it means to them is that the lives of the black people I know and already agree with me are the ones that matter to me. The rest of you niggas go to hell. If I'm in a predominantly white neighborhood and I see Black Lives Matter sign on the front lawn, I don't feel safe around this nigga.
Right.
Not supposed to make me.
You know what it is? They'll smile at you, and as soon as they leave and turn the corner, they call in the cops.
Yeah,
and hey, great to see you. Great to see you.
Those are the type of whites who, if their friends are online and their friends get into an argument with you, that white person comes in and feels totally okay with calling you any type of name or anything. It's like,
maybe the white people that call you a hotel. You ever been called a hotel by a white person, bro?
Their black friend becomes the entry card to call you a nigga. Hasn't happened to me,
like it'd be your first deal last.
And then my other question, Rennie, when are you gonna upload that Black Male Study Space?
What Black Male Study Space? Oh, the one we had
in July. Yeah, in July.
You got the audio for it?
Yeah, I got the audio.
Okay. I mean, send it to me. Send it to me.
I have to get it uploaded.
Well, now it's on Jamil.
I got
the Jamil. I really tweeted something from it like today, and but yeah, man, send that shit. I'm gonna get that thing oiled up.
You get that thing oiled down. Imagine somebody got on the stage and was like, Rennie, what would you?
Oh, shit. All right, we got Karen. I believe.
Yeah, Karen's up next.
Okay.
I hope that's a parody.
Yeah, it's a parody. It's not real.
Okay.
Okay. The question is for Andre. I have like two questions. The first question is, what do you think about Black Lives Matter in Toronto? I know this pod or this episode is like discussing the fall of the BLM network, but they seem to be thriving in Toronto with them purchasing an $8.2 million building on like what, Cecil Street or something like that.
Yeah.
And I know that you used to be like, you had some interest in that, like IWW and stuff like this, and you even had it on your Twitter handle, but you don't have it anymore. What happened?
I don't have any like party affiliations on my Twitter anymore. I'm still a member of the IWW. Like I'm a member of the
Oh, okay. I thought you were like anti-anarchism and stuff like that.
Oh no, I'm not. I'm anti-online anarchist.
He tried to call you on your shit.
No, the people that will parrot everything that they hear from the fucking State Department and then tell me that I'm statist for not wanting intervention in China or Latin America or whatever. I'm just like, suck a dick. But the actual like offline people who are engaging in mutual aid, doing labor organizing, and everywhere from like mom and pop shops and restaurants to the tech companies they work at. Like those are the people that I support. I can rock with them. We have a lot more alike and in common than we have. I don't know if that makes sense. But as for the BLM building downtown, man, like I still don't know who that's supposed to be helping. Like I don't know who it helps to purchase a multi-million-dollar property and set it up as like, I don't know if it's supposed to be like a multi-purpose or a community center or whatever. And I want to be very careful too, because like there's people that are close to me that work alongside and even with BLM Toronto. But there's a reason that Yusra Kogali left the organization a while back. She made her motives very clear, and I really respected them. And a lot of people that have worked adjacent to them have also had some serious questions about transparency, about lack of accountability to the community, lack of a transparent or a community-based process. Because what this organization was founded to do was to support community members, families, etc., that have been at the effect of police brutality and structural violence.
Were they?
I can't say that
Was it founded to do that?
In Toronto, at least, ostensibly that was
Okay.
the purpose. You know, the Toronto offshoot had at several junctures said that that's what the purpose was, and I personally don't see it. I know that they had helped people during the pandemic, so they did actually put together mutual aid drives for people that needed help with like groceries, bills, etc. during the pandemic. But like, if your organization is that flush with cash and families are still looking to you for help after they've like lost loved ones or are in danger from eviction from their homes and whatnot, I can't see what the purpose of the organization is. So, I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, that's all right. Thanks. Oh, and if I could get one more question, like, what do you think about the article in the Sun that came in this Toronto Star that was like a few weeks ago, talking about Desmond Cole attacking the black judge?
Oh
that was
man,
actually
Royce and James. That's okay. So Royce and James, you have to understand. I was actually explaining this a little bit earlier today. Royce and James is a Seventh-day Adventist, and a lot of the members of the Jamaican and Caribbean community that have achieved very high standing, whether it's in business, whether it's in government, whether it's in the law, the civil service, etc. A lot of them do belong to the same Seventh-day Adventist community. And the fact that Desmond had publicly criticized Justice Donald McLeod, who is a member of the Seventh-day Adventist community as well. A lot of people thought that Desmond was the one that filed a grievance against him for conflict of interest. Desmond was not the one who did that, but they're willing to just make up a lie and go ahead and believe it because it sounds plausible. So you always hear certain members of the community, especially like the petty bourgeois, like liberal donors and potential candidates for office, like the striver climber types, are forever upset with Desmond for. It's weird because they like it when he criticizes police brutality. They like it when he criticizes, injustice with the immigration system. But then if he actually follows the line to people in the community that are aiding and abetting with these problems, then they say that he's going too far. He's tearing down members of the community, and so on and so on. And the problem with Justice Donald McLeod is that he forms this organization, the Federation for Black Canadians, and it's not accountable to anybody. There's no process for membership. It just seemed to be like a bunch of handpicked people that were brought into the organization to afford it some clout with the Liberal government. When the Liberal government was announcing benefits for community members and nonprofits, they're right there with them. But when it comes to deportations, occasionally even illegal deportations of undocumented immigrants, etc., nowhere to be found. They had to show up at an event that Donald McLeod was at, joint with Justin Trudeau, and hold him to account. Like, they were publicly asking him why he wasn't advocating for a member of the Somali community that was facing deportation. And the reason he was facing deportation is because he was in the foster care system since he was like a toddler. He came over to Canada as like a very, very young child in the foster care system since he was a toddler. Nobody in the foster care system actually applied for his citizenship. He gets convicted of some petty crime, and then Immigration Canada turns around and they're like, "Oh, we should just fucking deport him." Well, he's been in Canada all his life, and nobody on his behalf filed for his citizenship. How the fuck is that his fault? And why isn't Donald McLeod talking about it? So Royce and James' problem is that when Desmond points out the hypocrisy here, the fact that he's attacking somebody who's black means that he's not aligned with the community. And then he does that really weaselly thing where he says, many in the community have said, or many members say that Desmond doesn't speak for them, or many are upset with his maverick approach and whatever the hell. And really what he's doing is, it's people that belong to maybe his church congregation, and maybe Royce and James himself feel a certain way about Desmond, but rather than actually name the people who have a problem with him, he does the many have said approach, which to me is weaselly and cowardly. And the fact that it appeared in the Toronto Star in the first place is journalistic malpractice. So hope that answers your question.
Damn, I was all about to say them
niggas need to go to the DMs with that shit.
But
Thanks.
But
all right, Charles, if you want to go ahead, I want to make sure that we get through Charles and Mateo, and then we can go ahead and log off for the night. Charles,
Yo, y'all can hear me?
yeah.
So I follow a couple of y'all on Twitter, Jamil Q. What up? But yeah, I was listening to him. I really joined, like, I got this app and joined this like app just to hear this conversation because yeah, I was part of definitely. I was part of like BYP 100 Chicago chapter, and I know them and BLM. We're all a part of the movement for Black Lives, right? So and this is something I think it needs to be looked into, like what these organizations are doing to like Black men and especially like Black youth in particular, because they often are led by like older folks who know better, like in their 30s and shit, right? And so they actually like when I enter that organization, like not only do they espouse like this Black queer feminist lens or whatever, but the rules and shit, it's almost damn near like a cult. Like they will tell Black men like they can't speak at certain points. They'll tell them like they'll silence them whenever they try to talk. They have to take a back seat and like really like really downplay like genuine feelings. And these are like often like niggas who are coming from like the hood too, like who actually like want to see some change happen, who are like are actually like in the field and impacted by like the very things that these groups and organizations claim to like, you know, be concerned about. So like on one hand, like you marching for like dead niggas, like you're really marching for these for dead people right here, and then you got them in your organization, the very people you know capitalize off of.
So many times,
and you
not conceive of Black men as human beings; they conceive of us as live dick or dead bodies, and that's pretty much it.
Exactly.
I've literally now go ahead, bro.
I just called to like just show some appreciation, you know, for this conversation, also for Martin, and also like, yo, people need to look at the movement for Black Lives. I understand, like, you know, Patrice and Opal and like all them, like, of course they've been finessing the movement, but like, yo, all them organizations like associated with that network, we talking about like.
You're not the first person to say that.
Yeah, I was about to say.
You're not the first. Yeah, it's bubbling. I can tell you that. Because
bubbling. I'm gonna let Martin get in here because he can speak more to that. I've literally been in my own city where I'm from, in Ward 8, where we literally last year, like during the summer, like we're literally at the police station. And out of nowhere, someone just gets on the microphone and is like, oh my God, Black women are so tired. Black women are so tired. I swear to God. Like, and someone, and like people, everybody was like, inherently, you're like, the sentiment is cool, but you're around a whole bunch of niggas out here too. So somebody literally says, yo, we literally out here for a dude who just got shot. Like, and you know, like, they was like, yo, we out here too. Like, so it's mind-boggling, but you gotta understand, like, a lot of these sentiments come from. And one of the biggest ideas, and Martin already spoke to it, was that in the past, Black men were trying to mimic white patriarchy, and that's what they were doing in the movements. So a lot of like, there has to be a lot of unraveling of what that means. Because like, and where that comes from. So and I just want to say this really quick. There's a big distinction between saying that there has been sexism in prior movements where you've had, like, for example, SNCC, SCLC, CORE, who, you know, had some issues with women leadership. When you look to a lot of the movements that were more centered around class, like the Black Panthers, women led the Black Panthers, but there's a distinction between there being sexism in organizations and there being a patriarchal structure for which the men in those organizations were trying to mimic white patriarchy. Those are two different things. And so what ends up happening is you get these situations where they say, well, Black men can't lead because Black men just want to be white men. And notice that's been the sentiment for the past 10 years. And it's simply not true. You get into the studies, when you get into the data, Black men and Black women have very similar attitudes. Evelyn Simeon has a study that shows that Black men are actually more tethered towards Black feminist tenets than Black women are. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, in 1971, you got Huey P. Newton writing on the women's liberation and gay liberation movement, right? Like, we have all of this nuance, but there's no real
And to jump in real quick, part of this comes from like a misunderstanding of violence.
The whole idea, part of this comes from like when you hear people explain why that is or why they think that's true, they say, well, look at the violence. White men are violent and Black men are violent. Therefore, the sources of the violence must be the same. But it's like nobody who it's like, do y'all live in this? Are y'all in the community? No one will literally look at the violence in the community and be like, damn, just that's like, and just look at it and be like, good old patriarchy. Yeah, good old patriarchy. Oh man. I've shared several studies documenting and sort of that pathway to violence and the different manifestations of it, particularly from sort of like an experiential perspective. And when you look at Black youth, and this is true for boys and girls, we're talking 5 to like 14 years old. 60, upwards 70, 80% of them have been exposed to some real form of violence, right? Before they ever even enter high school. And then when you look at juvenile detention centers, when you look at the youth that are predominantly disproportionately a part of those communities and populations, same thing. Every single one of them has been a victim of some sort of violence or has been exposed to a tremendous amount of violence, tremendous amount of dysfunction, instability. And then here's where it gets spooky. Once what happens to the young Black males, right? That if you in juvie, you end up, you got a free ticket to adult prison right after. You know what I'm saying? And then what happens when you get out? Now you're who's disproportionately homeless? Black men. Wonder how that happened. A lot of them come from foster care. A lot of them were in juvenile detention. And then a lot of them go and commit various sorts of crimes. And then that crime will be used to be cherry picked and be like, look, this is Black men are so violent. They want to be white men. And it's like, damn, all the context is gone. This person's story is erased. All you're looking at is the act of violence that they committed after 20 years of being victim of violence themselves. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, it's like people aren't really, I always tell people, like, people aren't really interested in violence if they're only interested in looking at it from one perspective and looking at it from one particular group being the offender and one particular group being the victim in every situation. Like, y'all don't really care about Black people. You don't really care about understanding violence if this is the only lens to which you want to understand it. So I would shut that argument down. I'm like, if all you care about is Black men who are harming people, and that's the only lens to which you want to look at this conversation, then you don't really care about Black people or the violence that they experience. Because everybody in the community is hurting. You know what I mean? So,
as like, what were these people's political beginnings in terms of like the leaders of these organizations and groups? And I can like say firsthand is like a lot of these folks probably ain't start off like, of course they ain't start off as Marxists, but even like creating these organizations, they're not even on that shit. They're not even socialists. Like I remember vividly like being in one of those BYP first meetings, and they were having a debate like, should they be capitalists or not? You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
That was a debate. It was like not everybody in our organization, is a socialist, or not everybody in our organization.
These conversations now around people are saying, well, y'all just don't want Black women to have luxury. Like these conversations are literally emanating from some of these organizations, and they don't necessarily have a class consciousness. They don't really have a real understanding of class contradiction. It's also, you can see it in the arguments about violence, because the orientation towards violence is going to be different based on group experiences, group conditions, right? Like white men at the top who are being violent because they control systems aren't the same as Black communities that are being violent because they're conditioned in violence. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's different. But I wanted to make sure either Martin speaks or we get to this last person.
But yeah, thank y'all.
I appreciate Vance for saying that. So BLM, BYP 100, what's the other one? The movement for Black Lives. Mm-hmm. It's the same conglomerate of folks. They all a lot of folks tend to have the same orientation towards how to their own status and their own politics of power, and at worst can really function as Black ambulance crisis managers, ambulance chasers, because there is no real politics. So you have to rely on mobilization all the time to show up. And within that mobilization, seeking to cash out in some ways and say, hey, my work should be paid for because I'm a focal point of this thing. Now I need to have a job that pays me $100K a year. I'm just naming it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and tell me if I'm lying. You know, seek me out and argue with me, and I will have that conversation with you. But that's what would happen. And what I've seen, I think there's kind of this in the allowing of this really vague, just calling it like Black, queer, radical feminism, but not really aligning it to really clear positions that would clear objectives and goals. I keep saying objectives and goals. How does your position get us here? I'll rock with it if you can tell me how to improve that. We have a sort of kind of, I call it a managerial feminism that is like very much centered on identity as holding particular realms of power and gateway points by way of like, because the assumption that we have a more marginalized experience and generally we should be able to and allowed to kind of hold these positions and create organizations that reflect that. So if you go into these orgs, looking how they describe their orientation versus what they show up against. A lot of them don't even mention Black men, but show up around the death of Black men to mobilize. And a lot of times feed funding into their different pots. But anyway, that's,
Mateo, you can go ahead and ask your question.
Cool. I have something directly for Q. The gentleman talked about how the State Department can kind of lead you down an applied path of jive, as it were. And I'm kind of a Cold War zealot. I'm kind of an obsessive student of the Cold War. I was behind the wall in Prague when I was a little boy in 1976. I have a lot of strong theories that Jonas Savimbi really was like the key component of the Cold War. So I have some kind of unconventional thoughts about the Cold War and the way that plugs into politics right now. So one thing I've been doing this last week is giving myself a crash course refresher in Kazakhstan, which is a really, really interesting culture. They used to use an Arabic script. They're currently fighting with the Russians over using.
Hey, bro, you kind of look like Tom Hanks.
So what do I want to ask? What do I want to ask you, Q? Do you see what's happening in Kazakhstan is kind of like oppression of the Sunni Muslim Ummah, more or less? Do you see the institutional violence that's like going on with like the 10,000 prisoners they're probably processing and blackmailing right now? Do you see that as just the price of doing business? I mean, I know you know the real like wobbly history, and you know the history of like the original left versus the Tsar 110 years ago. I mean, do you think about that 1910 perspective on Putin as a new Tsar, or do you kind of get in line as a current tanky, more or less, in terms of how you see it?
Oh my God, you're trying to trip me up on this. I'm gonna defer to no investigation nor right to speak. I would say like reasonably well educated in Kazakhstan's history. Do I think I'm qualified to give an opinion on that as to whether the Sunni Ummah is being oppressed? I don't know that I could actually offer an educated opinion on that.
It's a really confusing, unique culture. It's really, really idiosyncratic, of course.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna keep that to myself until. And as a matter of fact, like when Glenn and I, we're not gonna talk about it on our next show, but we are likely gonna touch on it within the next week.
Yeah, that's a big ball of wax. It'd be cool to actually talk about. It's really kind of like Sunni getting the shaft yet again, right? It's always the Sunni Muslims that have MBS up top, who's obviously a demon from hell. It doesn't care about them. it's another Sunni community that's kind of like licking the boot heel, right?
Yeah, I think what will happen is that we'll end up bringing in somebody who's like an expert in the field to have a conversation about that. But I'm definitely not going to have a conversation about that on this particular show at this time. First of all, it's after midnight, so how dare you?
Thank you.
Well, would you? Would you? Nah, but dude looks smooth like Tom Hanks. No bullshit. But
he said, "Then,
Anyway, I think we can pretty much call it there. Did you have anything, Martin? Did you have anything that you wanted to plug or promote? Anything that we wanted to wrap up before we go?
Yeah, check out B-Man at B-Man Foundation, at B-Man on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. If you want to know the BLM 10 narrative or the chapters that separated from the network and how they describe what goes down or went down, look at blmchapterstatement.com. There's 2 statements there to tell you exactly what it is. And if you want to follow me, at Till We Free. So.
Dope, man. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you, man, for coming on, man. Definitely on such short notice, too.
Short notice and just powering through all of your technical obstacles to make this happen. I appreciate that, bro.
Nah, no problem.
Yeah, no, it was a pleasure having you, bro.
Yeah.
For sure.
All good, man. All right, folks. Well, we'll see you again next week, and we'll be back very soon, not only with the call-in episode, but the Resistance Noir regular podcast in the RSS feed that's on back soon, too. So thank you very much for coming in tonight, and we'll see you soon.